In the shadow of Rome's greatest leaders, one man rose reluctantly to the highest throne in the ancient world. His name was Tiberius Claudius Nero, remembered in history as the second emperor of Rome. But unlike the dazzling Augustus, whose reign was celebrated as a golden age, Tiberius' rise was marked by suspicion, bitterness, and retreat from the very power he commanded. To understand how he became the ruler of the Roman Empire, we must go back to the beginning, to his childhood in a Rome torn between republic and empire. Tiberius was born on November 16, 42 BC, just a few months after the assassination of Julius Caesar. Rome was in chaos. Civil war raged between Caesar's assassins, Brutus and Cassius, and his supporters, Mark Antony and Octavian. The infant Tiberius entered the world at a time when loyalties shifted like sand, and survival often depended on political cunning. His father, Tiberius Claudius Nero, was a staunch supporter of Mark Antony, while his mother, Livia Drusilla, came from one of Rome's most powerful aristocratic families. This mix of politics and pedigree shaped the boy's destiny long before he could speak. When Tiberius was still a child, his mother divorced his father and married Octavian, the man who would soon become Augustus, the first emperor of Rome. This marriage tied young Tiberius to the most powerful man in the empire. From that moment, his path was no longer his own. He was bound to Augustus, destined to serve as both loyal general and eventual heir. But if fate seemed to bless him, Tiberius never appeared to embrace it with joy. Even from a young age, he was known for his serious, brooding nature. Unlike many Roman nobles, he was not charming, nor did he enjoy public life. He loved study, military, discipline, and solitude. These traits would define him as a ruler, and later push him into isolation on the island of Capri. By his teenage years, Tiberius was already serving Rome in ways most young men could only dream of. At just 12 years old, he delivered the funeral eulogy for his father, displaying the eloquence expected of a noble. By 17, he was serving as quaestor, one of the junior offices in Rome's political ladder. But politics never thrilled him. His true talent was for war. In 20 BC, Augustus sent Tiberius east to recover the Roman standards lost to the Parthians, a humiliating defeat that haunted the empire for decades. Through diplomacy backed with military strength, Tiberius succeeded. This achievement earned him great respect both in Rome and abroad. Augustus had found in Tiberius not only a stepson, but a capable commander who could defend the empire's honor. Over the next 2 decades, Tiberius proved himself repeatedly as one of Rome's finest generals. He campaigned in Pannonia, Dalmatia, and Germania, leading legions across dangerous frontiers. Ancient historians, even those hostile to him, admitted his brilliance in war. He was cautious, disciplined, and ruthless when necessary. The soldiers respected his leadership, though they often feared his stern demeanor. He was not a man to inspire love, but he commanded obedience. Yet behind his victories lay personal struggles. Tiberius' marriage to Vipsania, Agrippina, the daughter of Augustus' right-hand man, was one of the few bright spots in his life. He loved her deeply, and together they had a son, Drusus Julius Caesar. But Augustus, always focused on securing the imperial line, forced Tiberius to divorce Vipsania and marry Julia, Augustus' own daughter and the widow of Agrippa. This marriage was a political alliance, meant to tie Tiberius even closer to the ruling family. For Tiberius, it was a heartbreak that never healed. Julia, unlike Vipsania, was notorious for her scandalous lifestyle. Their marriage was cold, loveless, and humiliating for Tiberius. Forced to abandon the woman he adored, he grew bitter and resentful, not only toward Julia, but toward Augustus himself. This wound, historians say, was one of the reasons Tiberius withdrew emotionally from those around him. By the year 06 BC, the tension became unbearable. Despite his military successes, despite being Augustus' most capable general, Tiberius abruptly exiled himself to the island of Rhodes. Historians still debate his motives. Some say it was because of his hatred for Julia. Others argue he was frustrated being sidelined by Augustus, who favored his grandsons, Gaius and Lucius, as heirs. Whatever the reason, Rome was stunned. The man who had defended the empire's borders walked away from power, choosing solitude over glory. On Rhodes, Tiberius lived quietly, studying philosophy and astronomy, far from the intrigues of Rome. He was not exiled. He had chosen exile for himself. But the Roman people mocked him, calling him a coward who had abandoned his duty. Augustus himself grew cold toward his stepson, relying instead on his younger heirs. For nearly 8 years, Tiberius remained in this self-imposed exile, watching from afar as Rome's destiny unfolded without him. But fate, once again, pulled him back. In 02 AD, both Gaius and Lucius Augustus' beloved grandsons died unexpectedly, leaving the succession uncertain. Suddenly, Tiberius was recalled. He was the only man capable of holding the empire together. Reluctantly, he returned to Rome, now once again at the center of power.